Hello and welcome to another class where we learn one skill at a time. My name is Sophie and today I wanted to show you how to create a die cut sticker correctly in Affinity. If you have ever ordered stickers and they've come back with weird cuts or holes where you didn't want them, or you simply want to know how to get started, this video is going to show you that. We're going to look at 3 specific examples today: a watercolor design with some tricky edges, a vector text image, and a photo. And as we go through this setup, I will show you exactly how to add that crucial white stroke so that your printer knows exactly where to cut. Plus, stay tuned until the end because I'm going to share 3 websites that I trust to print these correctly, along with also some print-on-demand options for you. Let's go ahead and create a new document, and with that I've already got a large sticker template created. You can go ahead and create your own presets in the same way, so you need to just name it. So it's a large sticker. I have selected inches. I go with 300 dpi and I do 10 inches by 10 inches, and that's just because it's, again, easier to scale down, and I've always know that the sticker size is big enough to be able to sort of do what I want it to do in the context of detail and so on. I make sure that the color format is CMYK, and that's because all the large printers have this setup, and that's because they need to make sure that the colors are the right ones and they work with CMYK. And I make sure that the transparent background is turned on because it reminds me that it is a sticker and it needs a white background. And with that, I just go ahead and create the document. So going back to our half drop template, which is what we worked on last time, I'm going to go ahead and take this turtle and I'm going to make it a sticker. And this is my example of the watercolors. So let's go ahead and click Command C in our layers panel, and then we'll move back over to the sticker template. We'll go to our layers panel here and we'll click Command V or paste. Now, as you can see, it has got a lot of floating areas. Let me just put this in the center. It's got a lot of floating areas, and this is why having that white stroke is so important, because you can see here that all the internal sections are cut away. So if I didn't have that in that white outline cut out, then all of these could potentially be individual stickers that the customer would need to stick individually and create, almost like recreate the drawing themselves. So with that, let's go ahead and create that solid white outline that is a die cut sticker. So back over to our layers panel, what I'm going to do is go to the FX, which is FX, literally layer FX, and I'm going to click it, and here you get loads of little options that you can select from. Now the second from the top is outline. Give that a click, and this is exactly the one that we want. Now automatically it's given the color black, but we want it to be white, so let's go ahead and select white, and we're going to keep we're going to bump up this radius all the way up to about 30. Now as you can see here, the white line now has actually merged pretty well with all of the drawing. See, if I was to go back in the radius, watch what happens. And these are the bits that you really need to watch out for. These holes. Now this is why I like to use this transparent background, because these holes are what will catch you out and will make life much trickier. So I tend to err on the side of 30 to 40 pixels, depending on the drawing or, you know, the design at hand. So that is basically how you do it for a watercolor image if you've got loads and loads of floating parts. And you just simply click close. Now, one thing to note is that if you were to scale this object down, sometimes, like the stroke, you can see the stroke is not scaling with the object. Look, if the object is smaller, the scale is absolutely massive on the stroke. So what you need to do is go to that FX panel. If you double click the FX on the corner, you'll see at the bottom here it says scale with object. Now if you click that, what will happen is the stroke will scale with the actual object, and because obviously we've clicked scale to object and it's thickest, then now it's scaling with the thickest stroke. So just bear that in mind when you are adding the stroke. So let's just bring it back down to 30 something, 32, and scale with object. And then close it. And now when you scale it up or down, the stroke is in sort of conjunction with the size of your object as well. Okay, so now let's move over to the text, which I've done this slow down text in this cool sort of gradient's coming back, by the way, and it's the same context. So slow down, again, if you were just to send this to one of the printers, what they'll probably do is make them each individual letter that they will cut out, and that's just going to take forever. And especially like the O and stuff, you could end up with that being a gap, which isn't great if you want it to be on the back of a car or anything like that. It can make it look quite messy. So let's go ahead with the same principle here, and we're going to go to the layers panel and we're going to click FX. We're going to click yes on the outline. We're going to change the color to white, and again we're going to bump up that radius all the way. So as you can see here, these are little things again you need to just be mindful of, is that this little line here, it means it's a transparent section. These bits here are also transparent sections. So I'm just going to keep bumping that up until I think, do you know what? Yes, that works. And look, if I go along here, there are no longer any little bits that are sort of showing. And again, it's just one of those things when you're doing stickers, you want to make sure that this is something that people get good quality. So you want to make sure there are no holes or gaps or weird bits where it's been cut out. And again, you'd want to click this scale with object as well. For the alignment and the blend mode, always just keep it as normal, outside, solid color. If you start changing all of these, then you won't get that solid fill, and that is what we want here. So I'm going to click close, and then the last for example, which we said would be a photo, is I've got my little dog here, Luna, and it is really popular for people to request stickers of their pets, and that is what we're going to do today. Now I'm going to do this very quickly with the selection brush, just so you can see a couple of things. I'm not going to go into detail on the actual removing of the doggy from the background. If you would like a lesson on that, then I can more than happy to do that, but I'm just going to do this very quickly and then show you how to add the outline with a few extra tips along the way for refinement. So this is an object, so what I want to do is make sure that this layer is selected. The layers are always highlighted in blue if they are selected, and I'm going to go over here to our object selection tool, hold it down and select the brush. Now Affinity have done really well at this selection. I don't have the beta mode, so we're just going to go old school, and let's just drag over Luna. She is a 12-year-old rat terrier. She's a mixed breed from Spain. They found her by some rubbish bins, and she has been with me ever since she was about 10 months old, and I love her to pieces. So let's just do that for now. If I want to cut out, I just want to cut out this center bit actually. So up at the top there's mode, there's this subtract section, click that, and then it will go in. Also, the smaller you make your brush, so you like up and down on the bracket keys, the smaller you make your brush, the better it is at selecting those pixels that you actually want to have. Right, just a little bit over here, and then I'm going to stop it. Okay, so the section I want to focus on here are these bits here. Now, if I was to just keep this as is, what will happen is the stroke will be really jaggedy, and I don't really want the stroke to be so jaggedy. So I'm going to actually feather these sections here. Okay, and to be able to do that, what I'm going to do is go up to pixel selection, and I'm going to go down to feather. Now what feather does is literally just smooth out those lines so they're not so jaggedy. Now if you look at the little dialog box here at the bottom, if I increase the radius, you can see that those wispy bits where the hair is, they start to smooth out, and that's kind of what I want to focus on when it comes to pet stickers. We don't want it to be so precise like this, but I also don't want it to be like flat like that. They're animals, they have, you know, structure. So what I want to do is just do it by like a couple of, well, maybe there, like 13 pixels ish, and then hit apply. And from here, what I want to go ahead and do is Command J, okay? And that's going to basically copy the selected pixel layer. So if I hide this background, hide the dog, hide the full photo, here we have Looney in her finest. Again, this was really rough. If you want a full tutorial on how to remove animals from backgrounds precisely, then I can do that, but this is just as an example of the die cut sticker. So now we've got Looney and we've got our marching ants, which we don't actually need anymore, so we can press escape. What I want to do is apply the same principle, which is the solid fill background. So with that layer selected, we go back to the effects panel, we click the outline here. We do not want it to be black, we want it to be white. So just click that once, scooch over to the white. We're going to increase the radius to 222, that number that I like, about 35 I think it is for the animals that I like. Scale with object and then hit close. And there we have our sticker of our animal that has been cut out from a photograph. So with that done, what we can see now is that we have 3 print-ready designs. When you export these, you typically want to export them as PNGs or as a PDF, depending on what your printer asks for. Speaking of printers, as I mentioned in the beginning, here are the 3 websites that I have used or I know are trusted to create print stickers. First up is Sticker App. They are fantastic for unique materials like that holographic or the mirror stickers. Second is Sticker Mule. They are very well known for their quality and their speed, and I have used them in the past. And the third is Sticker Giant, and they are great if you're doing large runs. Now, if you're looking to do some print on demand, where you sell the design and then someone else ships it for you, then Printify, Guten, and Printful also offer this die cut feature. You just need to upload your file with the transparency and they basically handle the rest. So folks, that is it. If you found this video helpful, then please hit that like and subscribe button. It genuinely helps me understand what skills you find useful and what videos I can make in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, go beyond and create within.